All right, Lions fans, the off season continues. Free agency has kicked off. Now, this isn't the official day of free agency. This is what you would call the tampering period. So the deals that you are seeing and hearing will not be made official until Wednesday, the 11th. But as of right now, March the 9th, the Lions have made some moves. And this is what we see. This is on a CBS News. It says more changes are happening with the Detroit Lions organization. The team reportedly acquired Carolina Panthers center Cade Mays and Miami Dolphins offensive tackle Larry Borom. However, this does not come without losing Alex Anzalone and Mick Robertson. Now, what's going on here is that Alex Anzalone, we kind of had a feeling that Anzalone may not be back when the Lions, I want to say that was February 10th, when they voided his contract and DJ Reader, their contracts. We knew that more than likely they wouldn't be back. There was a part of me that was kind of hoping that they would work out something with Anzalone, that they would possibly bring him back. But obviously, with his age and possibly his injury history, they thought that it was not worth it. So he goes on and he goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, I have to say, I am happy that Alex Anzalone did not sign with the Bears, as we were hearing. I'd have been okay with him going to the Jets with Aaron Glenn, his old defensive coordinator, but I did not want him to go to Chicago. And Mick Robertson over Anzalone, I really was hoping Mick came back. I thought that Mick did a good job playing in the slot. I thought that he did a good job whenever they asked him to play on the outside when there was injuries to Reed or Arnold. And I was thinking that he would still want to be here, which I really believe that Mick did. He still wanted to be in Detroit. But obviously, whatever money he's getting in Washington, the Lions were not willing to top it, and they want to bring in some fresh faces. So what the Lions have done so far, as of 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, they have signed 2 offensive linemen. Now, Larry Borom from the Dolphins, he looks like he would be more of a depth piece, kind of like Juice Scruggs, who they got last week in the Montgomery trade. He seems like he would be more of a depth pick. I don't necessarily know if he's going to come in and be a starter. As for Cade Mays, there are those who believe that the Lions could have their next center. Now, according to PFF, I don't have my PFF up on this screen, but I'm looking at it over here on my other screen. They have him ranked as the 24th best center. So with it being 32 teams in the league, I would say that PFF is saying that this guy is as a starter or a borderline starter. Let's see if it says anything else interesting about these guys in this report. It talks about Taylor Decker being released, and it talks about the David Montgomery trade. It says Anzalone agreed to a 2-year, $17 million deal with the Bucks, while Mick Robertson reached a 2-year, $16 million deal with the Commanders. Mays, 26, that's the new center, was selected by the Panthers in the 6th round of the 2022 draft. The free agent played 11 games, started in 2 of them during his rookie season, and helped the Panthers rank 5th in rushing attempts and 4th in rushing yards. Borom, who's also 26, he's a Michigan native, drafted by the Bears in 2021. It says that Borom played 4 seasons with the Bears before he signed with the Dolphins ahead of the 2025 season. In Miami, he played 16 games. Goes on to talk about what Anzalone did here. Goes on to talk about what Robertson did here. And it says that while the Lions are new faces on the field, a familiar face will return on the coaching staff. Retired offensive tackle Dan Skipper will come back to Detroit and serve as an offensive assistant coach, which we talked about that a couple of days ago, that Dan Skipper is sticking around. I was saying that I was hoping Dan Skipper came back and filled his usual role, but guess what? I'm very happy to hear that while he may not be playing anymore, he is going to stay on the team. And I like that. He knows the guys on the team, he knows the coaches, and this would be a good way for Dan to move into the next part of his career. But Lions fans, I know we weren't expecting great moves in free agency, especially with the Lions cap space. But what do you think about, Cade Mays? Do you think that he's good enough to come in and replace Frank Ragnow? Because that's really what we're doing. Now, he's not going to be Frank, at least not to my opinion. But do you think that he's good enough to come in and fill that starting role? Or do the Lions still need to look for another center? Will he maybe end up being a backup to a better center, or will the Lions look to get a center in the draft. And as I mentioned before, I don't really see any centers in the draft that stand out to me. As for Larry Borom, it seems that he's brought in at depth. Now, what I do like about that is that the Lions backups on offensive line in 2025 they were not good. I mean, they were average to below average at best. Matter of fact, most of them were below average. So I think this is the team saying, look, we need some suitable guys. We need some guys that are ready to go. If any of our starters go down, we need some guys that can come in and actually take the reins and keep the team going instead of the guys that we had in 2025. That's more of what I think is going on with some of these moves. But hey, what is your thoughts on it? What's your thoughts on Cade Mays? What's your thoughts on Borom coming in and even Juke Scruggs last week? Do you see these guys as borderline starters, or do you see these guys as depth picks? All right, people, if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe. We're going to keep watching this thing and see what the Lions can do in free agency over the next 2 days. Like I said, remember, Wednesday is when these deals can be made official. All right, people, that's all I got for this one. Until next time, peace.